Okay, Assalamualaikum and selamat sejahtera. So, welcome to semester 2 of biology subject SB0 to 5. Okay, so first of all, I would like to overview about chapter 1, which is biodiversity. Okay, so actually biodiversity adalah chapter yang pertama dalam semester 2. So, kita boleh tengok dulu the learning outcomes for chapter 1. Okay, so first of all, for chapter 1, if you look at this, okay, so we have 1.1 biodiversity and classification. Okay, and then 1.2 domain bacteria and domain archaea. Okay, and then next 1.4 domain eukarya, which is kingdom protista. Okay, so actually kalau kita tengok dekat sini, so there is no 1.3 because of what? 1.3 we will cover it in our practical class. Okay, which is you have to do the experiment. Okay, and then 1.5 is domain eukarya, which is kingdom fungi. 1.6 domain eukarya, kingdom plantae, and the last one subtopic 1.7, which are domain eukarya, kingdom animalia. Okay, so first of all, okay, we look at subtopic 1.1, biodiversity and classification. Okay, so what is biodiversity and also classification? Okay, so firstly, okay, we look at the types of biodiversity. Okay, so actually, what is the meaning of biodiversity? Okay, biodiversity means kalau kita tengok dalam bahasa Melayu, maksudnya adalah biokepelbagaian. Okay, so based on types of biodiversity, there are 3 types of biodiversity. The first one we call as genetic diversity. Second, species diversity. Another one, ecosystem diversity. Okay, so what is genetic diversity? So we go through one by one. So genetic diversity means variation of all living forms at genetic level, variety of genes, alleles or nucleic acid. Okay, and then it will occur within the species of same population and between population. Okay, so kalau kita overview secara ringkas, so means that genetic diversity, it is more on variation that involve the genes of the living organism. Okay, sama ada dia berlaku variety or kepelbagaian dari bentuk genes, allele ataupun nucleic acid. Okay, and then next, species diversity. So what is species diversity? It is refers to the variety of species, richness in number of species in a community. So the keywords here is the variety of species richness. Okay, so for species diversity, it will involve 3 components. The first one are species richness. So what is species richness? It is the number of species in defined area. So means that we look at the number of species in a specific area. And then second, species evenness, okay, which is refers to number of individuals per species, okay. And then third, taxonomic, which is genetic relationship between different group of species. Okay, so later I will explain to you what is taxonomy. Okay, and then another one for types of biodiversity, ecosystem diversity. So what is ecosystem diversity? It is a variety of ecosystem that present in biosphere. Okay, so remember the types of biodiversity, there are 3 types. The first one we call as genetic diversity. Second, species diversity. Another one, ecosystem diversity. Okay, and then next we look at taxonomy. So actually, what is taxonomy? It is refers to the scientific discipline concerned with naming and classifying the diverse forms of life. So the keywords here is naming and classifying. So actually, how we classify the organism, okay, based on its species. Macam mana kita nak classifykan organism adalah based on taxonomy. Okay, so the founder of taxonomy is Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, so remember the founder of taxonomy is Carolus Linnaeus. Okay, so Carolus Linnaeus also developed the 2-part format of scientific name called binomial system of nomenclature of naming organism according to genus and species. Okay, so how we naming the organism? Okay, so that one kita panggil sebagai binomial system of nomenclature. Okay, according to genus and species. For the example, okay, let's say the organism is Panthera pardus. So how we name this species? Actually, it is according to its genus and also species. So mana datangnya genus and also species? Okay, we look at the hierarchical classification. classification for each of the organism. Okay, so for hierarchical classification, it will start with domain, and then next is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So means that you have to know the hierarchical classification on how to classifying the organism. So dia mesti akan bermula dengan domain, next is kingdom, then phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Okay, for the example, let's say the organism is Eukarya. Okay, so its domain is Eukarya. Okay, so what is the kingdom of the organism? Okay, so the kingdom is Animalia, and the phylum is Chordata, and then class Mammalia, order Carnivora, family Felidae. Okay, and then the genus is Panthera. So the name of the species is Panthera pardus. Okay, so yang ni yang saya katakan tadi. So kalau kita tengok based on how we naming the organism. Okay, so yang ni kita panggil sebagai binomial system of nomenclature, which is we name the organism according to its genus and species. So this is genus, this is species. So the genus for this organism is Panthera, the species is Pardus. So that's why, okay, what is the name of this organism? We call as Panthera pardus. Okay, so remember, since this is a scientific name, so you have to underline. So awak mesti kena tahu secara spesifik how to write the correct scientific name. P must be in capital letter. Okay, and then you underline the genus. Underline must be in separate. Jangan garis sekali. Okay, so maksudnya Panthera satu garisan, Pardus satu lagi garisan. So Pardus is refer to the species. So this is what we call as hierarchical classification. So means that awak mesti kena ingat starting from domain until species. Okay, so now we look at the types of classification system. Okay, so actually there are two types of classification system. The first one we call as 5 kingdom system. The second one we call as 3 domain system. So we go through one by one. So for 5 kingdom system, it is based on Whittaker 1969. Okay, or the full name is Robert Whittaker. So how we classify the organism based on the 5 kingdom system? Okay, according to the Whittaker. Okay, the basis classification it is according to the first one, level of cell organization. Okay, so we classify the organism based on its level of cell organization. Either the organism are prokaryote or eukaryote. And then second is based on types of organism, which is either the organism is unicellular or multicellular. And then the third one based on the modes of nutrition. So there are 3 types of modes of nutrition. The first one we call as saprophytic, second photosynthetic, another one holozoid. Okay, so the 5 kingdom system, okay, based on Whittaker, there are 5 kingdom, which are the first one we call as kingdom Monera, second kingdom Protista, third kingdom Fungi, fourth kingdom Plantae, and the last one kingdom Animalia. Okay, and then what is the difference with 3 domain system? So 3 domain system is proposed by Carl Woese et al. Okay, et al means and friend. Okay, maksudnya selain daripada Carl Woese ada lagi. Okay, and then they studied RNA molecules that found in small ribosomal subunit of ribosome. Okay, and they compare the base sequence of 16S, which is in prokaryote, and 18S, which is in eukaryotes rRNA. Okay, so now we look at the detail Whittaker's 5 kingdom system. So how Whittaker's classify the organism? Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, first we look at based on the level of cell organization. Okay, so firstly, we classify the organism either it is prokaryote or eukaryote. So for prokaryote, okay, only organism under kingdom Monera is prokaryote. Okay, so remember kingdom Monera actually it is a kingdom for bacteria. Okay, for the example is eubacteria and also archaebacteria. Okay, but for eukaryote, okay, so maksudnya tadi kita ada 5 kingdom kan. So there are remaining 4 kingdom. Okay, so maksudnya 4 kingdom lagi semuanya adalah eukaryote. Okay, but for organism in eukaryote, okay, the organism which is eukaryote, we classify again either the organism, okay, is unicellular or multicellular, or we classify based on types of organism. Okay, so for unicellular organism which is unicellular, the kingdom is kingdom Protista, okay, which is the second kingdom. Okay, for the example, algae and also protozoa. Okay, so actually mostly organism under kingdom Protista is unicellular. So that's why for kingdom Protista we consider is as unicellular organism. Okay, and then for multicellular organism, okay, it is referred to another 3 kingdom. Okay, but for another 3 kingdom, we classify it according to its modes of nutrition. Okay, so for modes of nutrition, there are 3 modes of nutrition. Either the organism are saprophytic, photosynthetic, another one is holozoid. Okay, so we look one by one. Okay, so firstly, we look at saprophytic. So what is saprophytic? It refers to the organism that feed by absorbing dead organic matter. So the keyword is absorbing dead organic matter. So what is the organism which is saprophytic? It is the organism that under kingdom fungi, okay, which is the third kingdom. So for kingdom fungi, it will be classified into another 3 phylum, okay, or phyla. The first one we call as phylum Zygomycota, second phylum Ascomycota, and then third Basidiomycota. So the detail for phylum under kingdom fungi kita akan discuss nanti. Okay, and then next, the modes of nutrition are photosynthetic. So actually, what is photosynthetic? Actually, photosynthetic organism are producer. Okay, kenapa kita panggil dia sebagai producer? Because of what? This organism is capable of absorbing and converting light energy into stored chemical energy by photosynthesis. Okay, so means that secara ringkas, photosynthetic is refers to the organism which is it can undergo photosynthesis. Okay, so the kingdom for organism which are photosynthetic is kingdom Plantae. Okay, so for kingdom Plantae, it will be classified into 4 groups here. The first one we call as bryophyte, then pteridophyte, and then number 3 is gymnosperm, another one angiosperm. Okay, so for this one, yang ni pun saya akan explain nanti. So apa yang awak kena ingat adalah for photosynthetic, it is specific for kingdom Plantae. Okay, and then another one holozoid. So what is holozoid? Holozoid is organism that obtain nourishment by ingestion, then digest and absorb the organic matter. So the keyword here is ingestion. Okay, ingestion means dia akan makan. Okay, lepas dia makan, dia akan digest and absorb the organic matter. So what is the organism that we consider is holozoid? Is organism that under kingdom Animalia. So kingdom Animalia is the 5th kingdom. Okay, so for kingdom Animalia, it will be classified into 9 phylum. So it will start with phylum Porifera, second Cnidaria or Coelenterata, third phylum is phylum Platyhelminthes, number 4 is Nematoda. Okay, and then number 5 is phylum Annelida, 6 phylum Arthropoda, 7 phylum Mollusca, 8 Echinodermata, and then lastly Chordata. So kalau kita tengok dekat sini kingdom Animalia, okay, dia ada 9 phylum semua sekali. So yang ni pun nanti kita akan discuss. Okay, so saya akan ulang sekali lagi. So remember, for Whittaker's 5 kingdom system, okay, so how we classify the organism? First, based on its level of cell organization. Okay, so you have to classify the organism, either the organism is prokaryote or eukaryote. So only kingdom Monera is prokaryote. So the remaining 4 kingdom is eukaryote. eukaryote. And then we classify either the organism is unicellular or multicellular, which is we look at the types of the organism. Okay, for unicellular organism, it is for kingdom Protista. Okay, so for the remaining 3 kingdom, all is multicellular. So how we classify another 3 kingdom is based on its modes of nutrition. So there are 3 modes of nutrition here. We have saprophytic, photosynthetic, and also holozoid. So for saprophytic, it is for kingdom fungi. Photosynthetic is for kingdom plantae, and holozoid is for kingdom Animalia. So kalau kita tengok dekat sini, ada 5 kingdom semua sekali, which is based on Robert Whittaker. Okay, so now we look at the 3 domain system. So remember, for 3 domain system is proposed by Carus et al. Okay, so there are 3 domain here. Start with domain bacteria, next domain archaea, another one domain eukarya. So for both domain bacteria and domain archaea, actually both of it are prokaryote. Why? For domain eukarya, it is eukaryote. Okay, and then for domain eukarya, we classify it. Okay, there are 4 kingdom here under domain eukarya, which are the first one, kingdom Protista, next kingdom fungi. Okay, then kingdom plantae, another one, kingdom Animalia. So what is the difference between the 5 kingdom system and also 3 domain system? Okay, kalau 5 kingdom system, we have kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom fungi, kingdom plantae, and kingdom Animalia. But for 3 domain system, it will start with domain. Okay, so there are 3 domain here. Remember, domain bacteria, archaea, eukarya. For both bacteria and archaea, it is prokaryote. While for eukarya, it is eukaryote. Okay, under domain eukarya, there are 4 kingdom here, which are kingdom Protista, kingdom fungi, kingdom plantae, and kingdom Animalia.